UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy Starship has been designed.
Transporter Chief, beam our listeners aboard. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast here on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I am Lieutenant Commander Counselor Nelson. With me today is Chief Recreational Officer Ria Papagiorgio.
Don't send me to my death.
I don't see a rank on your uniform. What are we at?
I cut the sleeves off, so
yes.
I guess I've been demoted to ensign again.
Oh, darn it.
A la Mariner.
And we have diplomatic standard bearer Kevin Scharf. Hello, Kevin.
I'm here. You can't see me, but I'm here. My camera has decided to stop working.
Are you out of phase,
now.
perhaps,
Ugh.
and that's why we can't see you?
Perhaps. The next phase.
Yes.
I just assumed that Kevin was just going through a naked phase and didn't want to switch his camera on.
Wearing nothing
the
but
next
paint.
Phase, naked
I am not
now.
wearing any pants.
Face paint and big shoes.
And we have with us, I'm sorry, I don't see your rank.
I'm going to stay as an ensign.
Okay.
I'm going to be ensign forever. Just like in my job, just classroom teacher, not just classroom teacher, but classroom teacher forever. Don't want no damn promotion. Just
That's
ensign.
true.
Sounds good, Harry.
Much easier. I'm also chief vacationer because I'm on holiday for the next 7 weeks.
Yes.
It's a school
As
summer
am I.
holidays.
Friday, my last day of summer school.
Love it.
Yes.
I'm off 1 week. This is the first day of my vacation.
Excellent.
In 12 years
wonderful.
and 2 months and 1 week, I'll be off. For the rest of my life.
Is that retirement?
Yes.
Well, let's check the communication array and see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Logs accessed.
From the Federation Council chambers regarding our Wesley profile episode, Josh Brewington writes, I think my dislike for the character revolves around the fact that in early episodes, he mostly seemed to be a ham-handed attempt by the writers to take an adult character and de-age him to appeal to a younger audience. His very existence seemed like a condescension to me when I was young. I didn't need a pretend kid to be able to relate to the show, but there he was. Encyclopedia Brown in outer space. I liked him more and more as they developed the character and his story, but I could never get the taste of my initial impression of him out of my mouth. I love Will Wheaton as a relatable and believable actor, so I solely blame the writers for Shut Up, Wesley. That's a great point, Josh. That's now that you put it that way, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I didn't even think of de-aging him to appeal to a younger audience, but still treating him as this adult. That is a great point, Josh. Thank you.
We have a Twitter comment from Michelle P, which could be Michelle Pfeiffer, didn't know she was a Star Trek fan, who goes by the handle at OnTheRock81 in relation to last week's episode about Picard and TNG connections. Nice review. I enjoyed a lot about Picard, but you missed one of the most egregious omissions. Not one reference to one of the most important people in Picard's life and a beloved TNG character, Dr. Beverly Crusher. Now that she won't be in season 2, I'm kind of soured on Picard. It's a very good point. Michelle, I don't know. I always think they shouldn't tell you who's going to be in. They shouldn't have told us that Q is going to reprise as the part of, or John Delancey is going to reprise the role as Q. They shouldn't tell you about Whoopi Goldberg coming back as Guinan. It should literally just be a shock to the viewers when you see the episode for the first time. So the less we know about episodes coming out in the future, the better. They will have to have her back at some point in the future, won't they? She's doing a Star Trek podcast, for goodness sake. Investigates. Yeah, so they really do have to have her on. She's
Or at least mention her.
To your point, Joe, when you were saying they shouldn't announce it, I wonder because now in this age of worldwide social media, that remember when they said 7 of 9 and what's the actor's name? I forget. Jerry Ryan, that they had to put her head in a black bag and walk her from studio to studio or from her trailer to the set because they didn't want to ruin the surprise. But depending on how, I mean, because 7 was only in a few episodes, but if John Delancey and if Q is going to be on a lot of episodes, that's a lot to try and keep under wraps. So maybe just sort of come at it with an announcement. Then there's not any, hearsay that fans love to do.
True.
But yes, Kimberly, I agree. I am missing the omission of Dr. Beverly Crusher as well.
So that's from Michelle.
Who's Kimberly? Her name is Michelle.
Yeah. Did I say Kimberly?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Michelle.
So we also received an email. This is from Stuart McElwain, I believe. Yes. And it says, love the recent Picard-centered podcast you all did. By the sounds of things, I'm in the same boat as Amy. I'm used to consuming my TV shows on a weekly basis, whereas I think nowadays binge watching is the preferred viewing method. My wife prefers binging to my week-by-week method. I completed a rewatch of Picard a few months back, and again, like Amy, I felt that it played better watching it as one continuous drama. Perhaps I need to analyze and adapt my own preferences to the new viewing models that streaming services seem to adopt these days. I was wary when they first announced Picard since he's my captain and means a great deal to me. Overall, I think they did a good job with the show. There are some things I did like and some that I absolutely didn't. What they did to Icheb just angers me, but on the whole, I enjoyed it. Stu.
I don't know how Stuart's marriage is going to survive if his wife likes binging it and he likes week to week watching.
Well, the nice thing is we can do both.
Works.
Because the episodes are released week to week, so you watch it week to week when it comes out. You have a whole week in suspense, and then when the season's over, you can binge to your heart's content.
I think week to week watching makes me a bit anxious because I really, really need to know what happens.
See, I'm with Stuart on this one, though. I prefer a week to week because that gave us 10 weeks to talk about Picard. Whereas you think about the latest hot Netflix show, they drop all 10 at once, and it comes and goes, and nobody hears about it again after the first weekend it drops. So, I think with whatever method the producers use these days, what they need to do is write the whole thing before they start working on it so that they get all the pieces in place and know how it's going to end before they start, so we don't end up with a rushed ending like I felt Picard had.
Agreed. Oh,
but that's
you're on the right page.
Stu, I am with you and am telling myself, I need to change the way and realize the new storytelling method. And Rhea, to your point, you can enjoy it week to week, and then you get to rewatch it and binge it and pick up more and new things like we did. So great.
I think with binging, you lose a lot of the detail, don't you? You take so much information in over a short period of time rather than just focusing on one episode per week.
Well, I think what Rhea was saying, watch the episode and then do the in-depth. And
then binge it.
Because I'm telling you, I saw more with the story in the binge watch.
Yeah, you see the arc better. Mm-hmm. I suppose it's like studying for a test, isn't it? You've done the episodic learning throughout the year, and then you cram in the whole year studying into the night before the exam.
Spot on. Yep. Good analogy, Joe.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
Well, today, listeners, we are going to be having a special 47th anniversary, 47th, because 47 started with The Next Generation with Joe Menosky. He was a writer, and he was a fantastic writer. Some of the episodes you might recall are Darmok and Masks. And to honor Joe Menosky, some of the other writers would throw in 47 because that was Joe's favorite number. And so we get these 47 references all throughout TNG and thereafter. And it's just fun to see the number pop up. And so we have some of our listeners with us who are going to talk to us. Joe?
Amy, did you just spend like a minute explaining what the reference 47 means to our Star Trek fan listeners?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But you know
fine.
what, Joe? We're not gatekeepers here. All
Don't
fans
feel
are welcome.
condescended towards, but it's fine.
Maybe not everyone knows the whole 47 thing. Joe.
Okay, sure. Take their fan card away from them.
Wow.
No, we won't take their fan card away from them, Joe.
Who is this, Rhea?
So harsh, Joe. So harsh.
No, I know it's fine. It's fine.
Yes, we're
Okay.
used to it by now.
Please continue.
So let's get to our introductions. And as we go around, please tell us your favorite 47 reference. So let us start. Jim, hello and welcome to Galaxy Class.
Hello. My favorite 47 reference actually isn't even one that's referenced on screen. It's kind of more of a connection. 47 is the age Patrick Stewart was when he first started playing Captain Picard.
What?
Wow.
Who knew?
I thought that was a good one.
That is, oh my gosh, excellent. That's some trivia. And Jim is very good at trivia as he has hosted a couple of trivia with us.
Yes.
And we sure will get you on again. All right, Christos, welcome to Galaxy Class. What's your favorite 47 reference?
Oh, I think I would have to go with one that would reference Crusher, as you would know. But that would be from Descent Part 2, when they beam up the Enterprise crew back to the Enterprise after the Borg start to attack, and they leave 47 people left on the planet that they have to come back for.
Wow.
Good reference.
Yes. Very good. And we have Chrissie with us. Hello, Chrissie. Welcome to Galaxy Class.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
What's your favorite 47 reference?
Well, that was kind of a tough one for me because there are so many after all. And for a moment, I was tempted to go with the origin of it, but I thought you might want to talk about that being all the mathematics involved. So I'm going to talk about one that goes with what we're going to be talking about later with the unpopular opinions, and pick a 47 from Time's Arrow Part 2, which is when Samuel Clemens is telling Picard what he has to put on the phaser, which is a frequency of 0.047 on your a frequency of 0.047 on your phaser will correctly activate this creature.
Nice.
That's what I get for trying to read the quote. All right.
Oh my gosh, that one is so good, and I love
that
as
episode.
a decimal. Awesome.
Yes.
And we have Christian. Hello, Christian. Welcome to Galaxy Class.
Hello, everyone. We have a lot of Chris's today. We have Christos, Chrissy, and Christian. This is going to be confusing. So my 47 moment, or my 47 mention, is kind of an unpopular one, too. It's from a very unpopular episode. The episode was Aquiel, and it was Relay Station 47, which has the look of like a space station that looks like a multi-tool or something. Looks like a screwdriver on one end and like a knife on the other end, but that's my moment.
One of those tools that can fix anything.
That's right.
All righty. Well, thank you. And we have Paul with us. Hello, Paul. Welcome to Galaxy Class.
Hey.
Hey.
Well, I don't necessarily have a favorite 47 moment, but one of the first ones I remember is from like the first or second season when Captain Picard receives a code 47 for Captain's Eyes Only message.
Excellent. Yes. Oh my gosh, I just love it. Excellent.
That was in Conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Great episode.
And we have with us Mark. Hello, Mark, and welcome to Galaxy Class.
Hey, Amy, it's nice to be here. I actually, part of the reason I picked this reference is for you, for math. So my reference is Wolf 359, which you're like, why is that a 47 reference? The number is halfway between the 3 and the 5, which would be 4, and the number halfway between 5 and 9 is 7. So Wolf 359 is a 47 reference. You're welcome, Amy.
Shut
Wow.
up.
Wow.
It's a 47 sandwich.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
And that's not even something that they've done intentionally. It just because Wolf 359 is an actual star, and it was a star long before we made Star Trek. So good, good pick up there.
You guys. All right, Joe, do you have a favorite 47 reference?
No. However, I will say that I love the fact that I can't remember who it was. One of the Star Trek producer guys said that 47 was 42 corrected for inflation, and 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Okay.
From Hitchhiker's Guide.
Awesome. Okay, we'll take it. Kevin, how about you? Your 47 reference.
I've got two. One's not quite a 47. Sometimes they flip it and it's a 74. So Data Feed Spot Feline Supplement number 74. That's one. And also in iBorg, when they were creating the virus that they were going to infect the collective with through Hugh, the virus that they invented, they called topological anomaly 4747. So it was a double 47.
Double 47. Nice.
Yeah.
I also read that sometimes they halved it and rounded it down, and so used 23 as the reference. Right.
Oh my goodness. Now,
So
is
stupid.
this fans wanting to see 47?
Quite possibly, yes.
Because they should be rounding up.
Rhea, how about yours?
My favorite one that I just love the way the line comes out on screen is in the game. And Wesley's in the turbo lift with Nurse Ogawa. And she asks him what level he's on. And he says level 11 or something. And she's all, I'm on level 47. This cracks me up. But there is another math one I thought you might appreciate, Amy.
Okay.
And possibly you, Christos, as well. Because it's in Remember Me. And when Beverly asks, like, what is the universe? And the computer says that it's a spheroid region 705 meters in diameter. Well, at another point in the episode, LaForge says that it's collapsing at a rate of 15 meters per second. So if you do the math, 705 divided by 15 is 47 seconds.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Kind of crazy.
It is.
Conspiracy.
Mind blown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how about you, Miss Amy? What's your favorite 47 moment?
Well, my favorite 47 moment, I'm going to go a little off script, but when I drive to school, the speed limit is 45, and I like to see if I can go 47 the whole way.
That's awesome.
And sometimes I get all the lights, but that's just in my personal life. I just, it's fun to see 47 pop up. But in Generations, when they are pulling the survivors and they pull off Soren and Guinan, there were 47 survivors from that was saved. So
I have a question.
Yes.
So we know that 47, this whole thing started with Next Generation. Are they still putting 47 references into Star Trek? Does anyone know of any that are in Discovery or Picard?
Yes, Discovery Season 1, their shields went down to 47% in Battle of the Binaries.
Ah, nice.
They couldn't not do it. I mean, it's a thing.
Now it's
a tradition now. So
you just go down the rabbit hole of searching on YouTube. There are so many videos about 47, not just in Star Trek, but in all 90s sci-fi and things like that.
Don't do it just now. Like, do it later, because we're like in
sure?
a podcast. Yeah, just saying.
Okay.
Do they have a clip, kind of like the clip of
Oh, I'm
You know,
sure.
Picard telling Worf to shut up kind of thing.
Yeah. So let's get to our main discussion. We wanted to invite everyone and share with us maybe an unpopular opinion about Star Trek or specifically Next Generation. So would anyone like to volunteer their first unpopular opinion so we can criticize? So we can enjoy what you have to say?
I would love to go first, Amy, if you don't mind.
Mark.
I'm on the time crunch, so I'll just throw it out there so everybody can pull it apart. So I was trying to think of something that people wouldn't necessarily go for as an unpopular opinion. Everyone that I was coming up with, I'm like, oh, somebody's going to choose this or somebody's going to choose that. And then I thought about Vash and how I was really wanting her to be in the Picard series. And I thought that Picard's romance with Vash was the best romance that he had in TNG. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but I'm going to throw out some reasons. I thought that she was a complementary equal for him because they were so different. I felt like they balanced each other out. Picard, up until that point, you hadn't really seen him off the bridge much, and Patrick Stewart literally went to the writers and just said that he wanted, the character to be, I guess, engaged in more fighting, also to have romance, right? And so the character of Vash was sort of created for that. So we got to see a different side of Picard for the first time because of that relationship with Vash. And every episode she's in, whether it's TNG or DS9, it's going to be a fun adventure kind of episode. And she's almost like an Indiana Jones character. And I like that they made her to be not, I guess, the perfect Starfleet officer kind of thing. Yes. Which they could have done it so easily, and they did with Nella Darren, who was amazing, and it was a very romantic episode. But you could tell that that relationship just wasn't going to work out. Maybe that one was a little too sweet, too perfect. Where the antagonism from the relationship with Vash was kind of what kept it fresh and kept it interesting. It must have been really fun to write for. So. Yeah. Anyway, that's my unpopular opinion.
Okay. So, Christos, I'm going to go to you next. Let's assume that Mark is talking about the one-off episodic relationships and not the long-term with Beverly, right, Christos?
Right. So actually, that's exactly how I was thinking of it. Vash, she's the equivalent of a vacation fling. It's that, not that dangerous person that you would not necessarily be with the rest of your life, but for a week on Risa, it's fun. And you actually see that when Vash comes to the Enterprise in the Q episode. Picard is totally not happy to see her in many ways. If he really, really felt that way about her, regardless of how the crew was around him, he would have been oh, I missed you so much. But instead he's oh, you don't fit in here and you don't fit into my regular life. So Vash is fun and dangerous and very Indiana Jones. I like that reference because she is, but I just think she is a vacation fling that, was very, okay, that happened and move on. And everybody knows that Beverly is his true love anyway.
Very true. So we do get to see Captain Picard in a different relationship, Chrissy. How do you feel that they introduced that well, or do you wish they would have still just gone with the Beverly more?
What can I say? I'm a Beverly Jean-Luc shipper, but they're not together yet at that point. And I believe the words that Patrick Stewart used, or at least as he calls it when he went to the producers, was he said Picard needs to get laid. I might be wrong about that, but I've read that somewhere. And they weren't wrong. Captain needs to relax. And she is a good counter for him because she is so, I don't want to say thoughtless, because she is thinking about what she's doing, but she doesn't worry about the consequences, whereas he's someone who has to plan things out. And so it works. And it got us a pretty fun Q episode too, so I can't complain about that.
Well, I think Vash, she maybe trusts her experience and the fact that she's used to landing on her feet because she is very charismatic with everybody she comes in contact with.
Yeah, true.
Very true. Paul, what are your feelings about Vash?
Well, like was said before, I think that she was a fling. At that point in time, Picard, I think, needed a distraction. He needed some companionship, but I can't see that as being a long-term relationship, especially on the Enterprise. So,
So Paul, I'm just going to ask: do you, for a fling, would you prefer Vash or Nella Darren or Anij?
I think Vash would be the most fun.
All right. Christian?
So I like the kind of the counter part that they play to each other because Picard is so prim and proper. And it's nice to see him get so agitated with Vash. So I do like them together because I think that you need that kind of conflict. I know that conflict was not something that we wanted in Star Trek, but I think that we need that. And I think that Picard needed that.
Now, Christian, you've read a lot of books. Are there any books about Vash?
So Vash shows up in the Millennium Trilogy, which happened around 2000. It was a DS9 trilogy. And they kind of pair her more with Q, where, I think that she was good with Picard, but I also liked Vash with Q, not romantically, but just the way they paired them up. I thought that they played off well together.
Awesome.
So do you think Q will bring Vash back for Picard season 2?
I hope so. I would love to see Vash.
That'd be fun.
And Beverly.
Yeah, let's bring back Beverly before Vash.
Definitely Beverly.
All right, Jim, how do you feel about Mark's unpopular opinion?
Oh, I've been a member of Team Vash for years, so I completely agree with that opinion, with that unpopular opinion.
Yes, someone else.
Well, I like what you said, Mark, about the contrast being a compliment. It's like food-wise, if you have a nice buttery carrot tomato soup and you could pair it with like a buttery oaked Chardonnay, or you could pair it with like a nice dry acidic Sauvignon Blanc, and it'll really, like, the contrast will really bring out the compliments in each other. And I think that's the case with Picard and Vash.
Is this the tomato soup that you're putting like Nutella in or something, or like a chocolate spread? I'm not entirely sure.
No, but
yeah.
Rhea's speaking my language with that wine talk. Woo, that was nice.
And we're back.
Joe's giving ideas, apparently.
Oh, you were coming to us. I never, like, if I were to rank Picard's relationships, Vash would be last. And I can't really well, Nella Darren, because she's an astrophysicist and she also plays the piano, so she's like me. Yeah, she'd be right up there. I love the character of Anij. There's something literally timeless about her. And Beverly is up there. So it's like joint first place, those three. And then Vash is down at 10 or something. I just thought, I forgot Vash was the character played by Jennifer Hetrick. I thought you were talking about the STI that Picard picked up on Risa.
Oh!
The Vash Rash?
Yeah, the Vash Rash.
Joe's, I don't know if Joe's opinion counts. He doesn't really like Star Trek Picard. So, if that says anything about his opinion of Vash, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what if Picard were actually a Denobulan, and then he could have 3 wives, and it could be Beverly, Anij, and Nella Darren.
Beverly would never go for that.
Denobulans are talking about, so the wives would have 3 husbands each as well.
Exactly.
Too messy.
Kevin?
I think Picard was just looking for a fling, and Vash gave him what he wanted, so.
I don't think he was looking for a fling, was he?
Well, he
wanted
wasn't,
to go and
no.
relax.
Yeah.
And
Riker helped him to want to have
Riker
a fling.
helped him to get a fling, yeah. So
I'd call it they guilted him into going.
They all did. They all did,
Yes.
yeah.
And a fling fell in his lap.
Yeah. He wasn't looking for a relationship. He's still not looking for a relationship. Like, face it, like the man is as confirmed a bachelor as you're gonna get. Like, well, by the time you get to Picard, he still hasn't. Maybe Laris, could be his newest fling. But I think
she's not married to
Jaban.
Jaban, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, she was married to Jaban.
Romulans.
Oh.
Maybe they're like the Nobulans and they each have 3 spouses.
No, Rhea.
Anyway,
they have secret husbands.
I am neutral on Vash. I like her as a character, but I don't like her as a potential partner for Picard.
All right.
I just want somebody to buy Picard anointment from the pharmacy.
Gross, but funny. But that's he goes in the sick bay and he's like, "Can I see anyone but Beverly?"
Could I see a male doctor, please? Yeah.
Preferably a holographic one.
The real reason Dr. Pulaski came aboard.
There you go.
The free clinic is on deck 69, isn't it?
Oh dear. Just as it regards Picard, there's a lot of time in there in which he could have married and divorced or married and been widowed. So I'm going to leave that one open. Yeah. Just saying. I don't. He may not necessarily still be bachelor.
Yeah. Well, there was a reference in that last Picard novel. I think Amy, you read this one too, about the Rikers, and after he retired from Starfleet after the whole incident, he was corresponding with Anuj allegedly, and she invited him to go there, and he didn't go. So I think he was literally in his self-imposed exile on Earth.
And you meant the Troys.
Maybe.
Yes, definitely the Troys.
The Trikers.
All right, Christian, tell us, what's one of your unpopular opinions?
There's so many.
Oh my goodness.
I'll start by showing this lovely autographed picture of Marina. And if you notice what she's wearing, when I met her that time, I said, well, I picked this picture for you to sign because Insurrection's one of my favorite movies. And her response to me was, well, we can't all have taste. So my unpopular opinion is that Star Trek Insurrection is a great Star Trek movie. Bring it. Come on, bring it.
Wow, bring it.
I want to respond to this one. Of all the movies, it's the most like an episode of Next Generation. And so I do have a special place in my heart for that movie because of that. Is it a great cinematic experience? No, not really. But would it have been a great two-parter as part of the series? Yeah, I agree. So while I don't think it's a great movie, I think it's a great story. And I think it is a great Star Trek, specifically the Next Generation story.
I'm with you there, Kevin, because the biggest complaint I've heard against Insurrection is that it's too much like an episode, not a movie. Well, the whole thing that made Star Trek The Next Generation great were 7 seasons worth of episodes. So that's why you love TNG, and there's a movie that's just like the episodes, but you don't like the movie because it's just like the episodes. But they're not producing episodes anymore, they're just producing movies. So
okay. What I was going to say is I listened to the podcast, obviously, and you guys had mentioned when talking about Picard that the whole universe ending plot line is kind of been done a lot. And what was great about that particular movie is that it wasn't like they had to save the entire quadrant or the entire universe. It was something else. And so it's refreshing to see them go in that direction, with the cinematic budget. Yeah. So I agree with your opinion.
That is a good point, because it's even something Lower Decks pokes fun at sometimes, is that, the Enterprise is always dealing with, the end of the universe and whatnot. I think, though, coming off a movie like First Contact, where it was such a big movie and the stakes were so big, to your point, Mark, and, Insurrection just seems small. And it really, this is where I felt like the last movie or two got really off target with not servicing the whole crew and really kind of leaving characters like Troy and Beverly in the background and making it, once again, the Data show, and So I felt like that's my biggest gripe in general with a lot of the TNG movies.
I think visually Insurrection looks amazing. It's one of the nicest looking movies that we get from Next Generation, but that is really cheapened with a joystick at the end and the boobs being firm.
Yeah, that's what ruined. It seems like that's what ruined it for me.
Yeah.
The boobs and the Klingon acne and dumb jokes.
Yeah, Generations. Insurrection. It's that other one name title. Insurrection brings us Anij, so I will always have a special place for Insurrection. And Rhea, to your point, yeah, it's like an episode. And I actually do put All Good Things above Insurrection, but it's right there. And it's a great episode. I would have loved to have seen it within the series. I think it's a fun story. It, talks about where your loyalties and is the Federation overreaching and individual power. So it's a good story, absolutely. And we do get Anij, which is my favorite Picard romance, and not Vosh, sorry.
It would be awesome to have a batleth battle between All Good Things and Insurrection, except that All Good Things lost to Conspiracy. So maybe next time.
I wasn't there.
Oh, spoiler alert, listeners, if you haven't listened to that one.
You could always do a one-off batleth battle.
A Mechleth battle?
Oh, yeah.
You should do one between Vosh and Neladarin.
A duel.
Duel, yeah.
Vosh wins that easy.
Yeah, I think so.
Refereed by Beverly
He fights
Crusher.
dirty. We have to thank Insurrection for finally solidifying Troy and Riker being together, though. So,
yes.
If nothing else, and I do think it's a good story. So.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it again last night in preparation because I knew that was going to be my pick. I've heard the argument so many times that it's like an episode. I think that's what I like about it, because in a lot of the movies, you lose that bond that the characters have. And that, to me, that movie shows the relationship that most of these characters have more than any of the other movies, because of the little private jokes they have, and they make references to past episodes. So it really ties in a lot better to the series, I think, than a lot of the other movies do. And the whole argument about whether the Federation should have allied with the Sona, I mean, we can look at our politics today and we can see that, look at different nations, and you're like, why are we allying with these people? They don't share our core common beliefs, and that's a really big thing to think about. So, and also, like Joe said, it is beautiful. The area that they filmed the hills and the mountains in, you can only access that certain times of year by helicopter because the roads are snowed in, and it's lovely up there. That's up near Mammoth Mountain.
And getting to that point about the character development, I can't think of any other movie where they delved in depth into data with learning humor and stuff like that, which is probably the only good point about that film that I can think of offhand.
Did they not? Something popped up on my Facebook earlier about filming Insurrection. Was this day in 1998?
Yeah,
really?
they filmed the mountain scenes yesterday and today, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, however many years ago.
Wow. What was meant to be then?
23 years ago. We're getting old.
Okay, my unpopular opinion. Captain Edward Jellicoe was right. He was the right man. He was the right man for the job. He was not the nicest person in the world, but hear me out.
Right click,
delete
served, Paul.
I served 20 years in the Navy, and I served with different types of captains who had different leadership styles. Different leaders had different leadership styles, and it is very unusual for a crew to be together for as long as the Next Generation crew was. 7 years, that's unheard of, in real life. You have to be able to adapt to different leadership styles. he had the experience with the Cardassians to get done what had to get done. He told Riker, hey, I want to have four shift rotation, find a way to get it done. He should have done that instead of being whiny and, whining back to Picard. You don't do that. You don't jump the chain of command. You don't do that. So he wasn't the nicest guy, like I said, but he had the experience and he got the job done.
Do you think he wasn't the nicest guy because he knew this was a very temporary assignment?
Absolutely, 100%. He was there for all he knew, for just a short period of time. So he didn't have time to get to know the crew. He didn't have time to do, all the niceties and everything. Maybe he could have been a little more understanding with Troy, try to give her a little bit, more, but
yeah.
They were in a state of war at that point, so.
He was right about her wearing a uniform, though.
Absolutely.
And I really think that kind of changed the course of her career. But personally, I think his leadership style is crap. But
I think it's really interesting to hear the perspective of somebody that's been in the military, which I've always hated Jellicoe, and for the reasons.
Well, I did too at first.
Yeah, he upsets the status quo. Like for all of us here watching it, I'm going to speak for everyone without really knowing your opinions on it. Next Generation is comfortable. It's that comfort blanket that we grew up with. And to watch it takes us back to the first times that we saw it. And for me, that was as a teenager. And to have this other captain who's a bit cantankerous, and he just upsets the balance, the comfortable family feeling that we have with the crew. And that's why I still don't like him. But I take your point that he's just there temporarily and he knows what needs to get done and does it. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I didn't say he was a good leader, but he was the right man for that job.
Mm. Yeah.
And they've looked at that character in depth in the books. He always had, they showed him as having a more kind of militaristic, if that's the right way to say it, form of leadership than Picard, but still always at the end of the day doing what was right, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I agree that he was the right man at the right time. I just finished a TOS novel that just came out called The Living Memory, and it takes place between the motion picture and Wrath of Khan. And one of the big debates of the book is that Starfleet's not military. It's not supposed to be military. And I think Gene Roddenberry would not have liked Jellicoe at all. On the other hand, the point was that we could really be getting into a war with the Cardassians if this goes sideways, and the Enterprise needed to be battle ready. And that's where Jellicoe, with his more militaristic approach, was brought in to make sure the Enterprise was not going on a little cruise, but it was potentially going to go into battle.
Right. And that's where Riker, like to your point, Paul, Riker needs to follow his chain of command and do what he's ordered. But I guess my beef with Jellicoe is that, you got to consider your people. The ends don't always justify the means, and, you can't just steamroll over all your people. I don't know, for whatever sense of power that you feel that you need to get. But now I'm letting my opinions sneak through.
Yeah, and like it was mentioned before, TNG was sort of a comfort blanket, I think is how Joe put it. Jellicoe, I think, was brought in as the sort of a temporarily rip away the comfort blanket, so to speak.
I think we were supposed to feel uncomfortable by him.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
He was brought in to be the bad guy, and he did it well.
And every organization always has that person who comes in from the outside to evaluate how things are running. And sometimes they have to make tweaks. In this case, he was very, very adamant about the tweaks that needed to be made. But, it's part of the process of being in any kind of an organization. You want to be running the most efficiently you can. And Jellicoe was the man who needed to make those changes.
And my grandfather had a saying, a new broom sweeps clean. So, I mean, that's just a part of being it. When you're the part of any organization, you're always going to have that leader that comes in and wants to change things. And that's just something you have to get used to sometimes.
There's another saying that goes about brooms. Amy can use any broom to fly.
I can. Not ashamed to admit it.
And to beat Joe with.
Oh, yeah, true. For those of you that don't know, Amy and I, we love each other, don't we?
Depends on the day.
Awkward, yeah.
Listeners, don't take that as an example of a healthy relationship.
All right, Jim, hit us with your unpopular opinion.
I'm not entirely sure if this is an unpopular opinion or not. I think, as I mentioned in the chat leading up to this, this isn't my strong subject, but the best one I could come up with is that I've never been convinced that Wesley should have gone into the academy after he was given that battlefield promotion by Picard. I think he should have just stayed on the Enterprise.
That would have, I think, led to an easier transition to being a traveler.
Yeah.
Right?
Granted, it was deprived of some great stories, but I always just never completely understood that he'd been promoted to full ensign with all the duties. Why go back into the academy and training when you've already got the job?
Interesting. I'm sure there was some Starfleet bureaucracy there and boxes that had to be checked off.
Yep.
The education.
Was the Enterprise not the best school that he could have been on?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think they even mentioned that in First Duty or something like that was the episode.
Well, yeah, whenever Wesley's like doing anything academy, like applying in age of
coming of age.
Yeah, coming of age, or it's like every other teenager or whoever that's going into Starfleet. Oh, you've served on the Enterprise. I'm at such a disadvantage. You've had all this experience, and well, still got to jump through the hoops, I guess.
Yeah, or Tom. Oh, excuse me, Nick Locarno said, "Oh, he served on the Enterprise. He'll be great on our squadron," kind of a thing. I think was the line.
Yeah.
He of course, they needed to write him off the show, but they could have easily just transferred him to another ship and being like, okay, you're gonna go do a little bit more field training on a less dangerous ship or something. But putting it like that doesn't make, you're absolutely right. Going to the academy and starting at year one, like you haven't been flying the flagship of the Federation for the last 2.5 years or whatever. You're right. It makes no sense.
Except that going back to our Wesley Crusher profile episode, it makes me like want to punch him in the face because everyone else has to go to the academy, but you just get to get promoted on the Enterprise and then go get transferred to other ships. And
that's a whole other topic, but yeah,
meet you in a dark
I
alley,
agree. I would have filed a grievance if I were serving on the Enterprise and the doctor's son just gets to drive the ship and I have to play lower decks.
And that's why he got shuttled off to the academy.
No, but
grievances
that
were filed.
totally, like in education, like if you want to test out of a course and still get the credit, right? You just pay the money, of course, because money makes the world go round. But then you can just opt out, like test out and still get the credit. So Wesley could have done that. He didn't have to go to Starfleet because he could have tested out. Right, Chrissy?
I was going to say, that had never occurred to me that he wouldn't end up going to the academy, at least for something. To your point about testing out, we don't know that he didn't. I mean, he had the 1-year rank pip here, but for all we know, he didn't have to take any classes in how to pilot a Galaxy class starship. We don't have that information.
You'll see in the Starfleet handbook where they have a CLEP system.
Yeah, there you go. And it better be better than the one we have now. That's another issue. But yeah, I think there's a lot more you get out of school than just the learning that's in the books. If you think about Wesley objectively, okay, from say the random admiral who has to read the report about this 17-year-old kid that just got a field commission for no discernible reason other than he's super smart. And if you go back to the very beginning of the story, maybe the captain's love child, but that's another issue. It doesn't make sense. And if he stays there, there's no socialization with people who don't know him as that. And we do know he was taking other stuff. I mean, he was taking Latin at the academy, which is an interesting choice for language, but we can talk about that a different time. But there's a lot more of school than just learning what's in the books.
As the first duty shows so well, because
Yes.
Wesley didn't necessarily pass the integrity portion of his Starfleet training.
I think going back to the academy probably helped him mature because he would have been surrounded by more people his own age, and so that would have helped his development. Because on the Enterprise, it's pretty much adults, with the exception of the few teenagers that we see as a one-off.
Mm-hmm. If you think about what happens in the first duty, if you step back and reset that on the Enterprise and say this is an idea that Geordi came up with and Data's helping with and Riker thinks it's fun, that's how Wesley's thinking. And he's not thinking about this is a group of people who do not have the experience, who do not have the mental and emotional adultness to understand what the problem is with what's going on.
Yeah, the discernment.
So he's thinking like he's dealing with adults, and he's not.
Yeah. Ironically, I just watched the first duty this morning when I was having my morning coffee. And I agree with that. I'm like, he actually shows that he was not ready to be an ensign. The fact that he would let Nick Locarno talk him into all that. And he was ready to go along with lying to the Admiral until Picard really just threatened to expose him. So I'm like, yeah, you're not really ready to be wearing that uniform.
Okay, season 2 of Picard on La Serena. Picard's there, Seven's there, and Tom Paris beams on board. And Seven says, Tom Paris, and Picard says, Nick Locarno. Each other, and it fades to black. So I read that. Somebody posted it on Facebook, and I thought it's genius. But it never has an explanation. It just fades to black, then moves on to the next scene.
Nice.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's like that. It sounds to me like that one of the most important classes that Wesley can be taking at the Academy is ethics. You would think that would have been something he had learned on the Enterprise. We're Starfleet. We don't lie. He said that himself in Amy's favorite episode.
Yeah.
Or it just proves teenagers can influence teenagers.
Yeah.
This is
peer
true.
pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you brought up a great point, Christos, that he's so used to being around adults and kind of deferring to their judgment. Or was it Chrissy? One of you brought that up. Yeah, sorry.
That was me.
But it's a totally different dynamic when you're amongst, your peers. And what's the difference between peer pressure and, deferring to someone else's better judgment? And he didn't have that yet.
I also have this new thought in my mind that there's now a group of lower decker command division officers on the Enterprise who are part of an anti-Wesley Crusher fan club, that they're really mad that this kid who really hasn't worked for it is flying the ship. Like that's a Christus.
If you're like, is it Powell that's in lower decks, the really good looking one in the red? If you were him on this ship, and he probably was, and you're like, who's this kid that captain's love interest CMO's son driving the ship who's never been to Starfleet Academy, and I went through all of that, and I'm scrubbing out the work for
on that ship.
Yep. This kid doesn't even shave, and he's at the helm.
All right, great.
Somebody needs to write that fanfic.
Yes.
Well, as the education specialist on board today, I will kind of chime in for Wesley in that, not everyone fits into the box that the classroom provides. And thinking of neurodiversity, perhaps the Academy just wasn't for Wesley. And it's almost like he knew that before even going in. And we kind of see where it took him by the end of Future. Was it Future's End?
Journey's
End.
Okay, so we see where the Academy ends up taking him, and so maybe it really wasn't the best choice for him.
Or B'Elanna Torres, and I think in general OJT is a better, way of learning than sitting in a classroom. But again, when you've got one kid being the exception to the rule, just because the captain wants to boink his mom, a little fishy.
I would like to see
feels
boink.
guilty about killing his dad.
Yeah.
History. Yeah. All right, Christos.
All right. Well, I'm going to first preface this with This is not an attack against Troy. Okay,
shields down.
Not a good
Shields
start.
down to
Shields.
47%.
Just go to
This is
yellow
gonna be
alert. You
good.
don't need to go to red.
Okay.
Christos, you're a guest here, remember? I'm just giving
I
that
know, but actually, like I said, I'll just let me finish it all through.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little BS that Troy goes from they introduced this idea of Troy wanting to go become a commander, and the whole passing the bridge officers test, which apparently is just one holodeck simulation, and it all happens in one episode. So not that I don't think that Troy could become a bridge officer, not that I don't think that she would pass it, but if that's what it is to go from lieutenant commander to commander to have passed this test, or maybe that's just the track she was on with her previous training, but this all happens in like one episode, and she goes from lieutenant commander to commander just because she decides, she realizes that sometimes being captain means sending somebody to their death. So I'm like, Data's been lieutenant commander for all 7 seasons and 4 movies. And if that's all it took, I mean, we saw Data do more in Redemption Part 2 as command, so why, I just think that whole, I know we're episodic television and sometimes things have to happen in closed book, and if it's just for Discovery, it'd be happening over 3 seasons. But I recently saw that episode and I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit ridiculous that this all happens in one episode, and it's really just figuring that one part out. I know there was some other stuff and she's studying hard, and but I just thought it was a little bit too easy, the easy button for the writers, that this all happens in an episode. So
yeah,
not that Troy is undeserving of
commander's
the rank.
test as it was a command track test, because we've seen first officers that were lieutenant commanders. So I think that was more just she was trying to get onto the command track.
Right, she's like in the science division. Data's in the operations division. He's also second officer of the ship, so he's in that positional authority.
Well, I feel like they were dropping breadcrumbs of that before that episode. Like in episodes before that, she was already preparing herself and deciding that she wanted to do that. So I feel like maybe it wasn't like written in the episode, but I feel like she had probably for months, before that, in between taking clients and stuff like that, she had been studying and working really hard for it. So that might have been like the last thing. That's how I interpreted it. Anyway.
That would have more.
There's 2 parts to that. I mean, they lay the first hint at this in Disaster, where she's completely ill prepared to take command of the ship in an emergency situation, and really shows how unsure of herself she is. But remember that episode that she does this, I think it's called Thine Own Self. She literally sits down, comes back from a conference, and Beverly's in command on the night watch, and sits down and just kind of picks her brain. Why did you become a commander? You don't need it to do your job. And, so I think, maybe while she was at that conference is where the seed got planted. I think that's, and it just kind of all happens in an episode. That's I think my point.
It kind of is a little bit similar to the whole Wesley situation too. And then throw in the fact that the officer administering the test to her wants to boink her. I think you can say boink, Joe.
It's her future husband, not just wants to boink her.
Or ex-lover, however, wherever they are in their relationship.
Ex/future/Imzadi.
I mean, she literally has a pet name for him.
Yeah.
And we never got a promotion for Harry Kim. At all. You're talking about Data, but poor Harry Kim. Probably still an ensign somewhere.
Yeah.
There's somebody who hates Wesley.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I saw that same meme you were just talking about, Rhea.
Yeah, the meme where Captain Nog.
Nog.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Chrissy, what's your unpopular opinion? I'm very curious.
I have a few. So since I decided to connect it to my 47 reference, I'll say Time's Arrow is a good episode. Good episodes. I know a lot of people don't like it. See, I was one of those people.
I liked it.
All right, well, good. Then maybe it's not unpopular. I don't know. But I was one of those people who didn't realize that there were episodes that people thought were terrible and all of that until I got into the Star Trek community on the internet. Because I was just like, oh, this is fun. And he's going back in time, and yeah, it's another time travel episode. But look, he meets Mark Twain and Jack London, and it's just fun.
And Gul Dukat in San Francisco.
Yes, that's right. Nous sommes comme oh shit, what does he say? We must be brothers. Nous sommes comme frères. Beautiful French accent.
I feel like Time Zero, I remember watching it first run, and I was probably a teenager. I remember just being meh, this is just okay. I totally feel like Time has treated Time Zero very well, and I really actually enjoy watching it as a kind of a guilty pleasure two-parter.
So Time Zero Part 1 was actually the first episode of Star Trek I ever watched. And so I had to wait that entire summer to catch up for Part 2. But in that summer, since it was all syndication, I was, catching up on everything I could in Next Generation. So it's always held a special place in my heart. I love the kind of aesthetics of that episode. I love the clothes that they wear from the past. I love especially that cane with the snake head or the serpent head. I think it's just so intriguing. And the shadow people there, it's creepy, and it makes you want to watch more of it and to learn more about these people.
Would that have made a better movie than Insurrection?
No, Insurrection was a perfect movie. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, well, maybe it's not as unpopular as I thought, but there we go.
I think it's a silly episode. It's got a lot of silliness in it. And I think there is a large section of fandom that if it doesn't sort of fit right in their box of serious Star Trekkiness, then it's bad. And so I love the crew having to pretend to be a performance troupe and
that's
rehearsing
fun.
for a Shakespeare play. It's there's just a lot of fun stuff in Time Zero, and Data's head, on the planet for hundreds of years, just ridiculous concepts that are fun, and some people just hate fun.
Or
I love fun, but Data's head.
19th century Earth.
Yeah. The Data's head thing gets me.
When Guinan Data finds Guinan, and she has to play along, and she realizes that Data's from space, or her performance there is so Oda Mae Brown from Ghost, which is one of my favorite Whoopi or Goldberg roles. When she goes into that, I'm like that moment there with Whoopi where she's like, oh, it just cracks me up. And it like you said, it's a lot of serious. There's a lot of stakes in this episode. I mean, the whole timeline could be completely ruined if they mess things up, but it's got some really sweet comedic moments. And you see, like you're talking about them practicing, Shakespeare and things like that. And it seems, you see the crew, the 7 or 6, Worf's not around, being so tight and, being able to do that. It's got a lot of guilty pleasures to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It prompted interest from the historian in me too, even though I was a kid, because you have that scene. At one point you have Guinan, who appears to be very well accepted in society, certainly moneyed, seemingly upper class, and she's not. There's no reference to her skin color in 1890 or something like that in San Francisco. But then at the same time, you have that cop that just takes that cane out of Geordie's hand. That's a gentleman's cane. You can't have that. And so I remember as a kid that prompting discussion between my parents and I about like why she should not be in that position, because I knew enough to be like she should not be in that position in that society. And then of course my parents like, well, it's fiction. You could do it that way, but it's inconsistent even within itself. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. So yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining our roundtable discussion. This was so much fun. Let's go around, and why don't you tell people where they can find you out there on social media? Paul, let's start with you.
I'm at PAWJR77 on Twitter.
And you're in our Facebook group, the Federation.
And I'm in the
Council
Facebook group, Federation Council Chambers.
We all are in there. Yes, awesome. Thank you, Christian.
So you can find me in the Facebook group as well. Christian Alonso is my name on Facebook. And then you can find me on Twitter at TrekkyCJ.
And Chrissy?
All right. Well, let's see. You can find me. I feel like I jumped into a fan thing as one of the hosts, and I don't know.
But you're a fan of TNG.
I am. I'm totally. That's my home trek. So
yeah.
Anyway, right. So you can find me also on Infinite Diversity here on this network, and also the new twice weekly History with the Szilagys, also on this network, and I do that with my partner Jason. And I'm in the Federation Council Chambers, certainly. And I'm also on Twitter at the Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLivia. And I tweet there about Star Trek history and leftist politics.
And Jim.
I am in the Facebook group. I am also on Twitter at TrekFan_165.
Very good. And Christos.
You can find me in the Facebook group, Christos Generis, and on Twitter and Instagram at GreekGeekSD.
And we would like to thank Mark White, who had to leave. He joined us on his lunch break. So thank you so much, Mark. And you can find him on Twitter at MarkWhite207. So guys, final thoughts for our 47th episode. Rhea?
We have the bestest listeners ever. That was so much fun. It was so wonderful to see everyone's faces. And yeah, just what a great conversation. I really, really enjoyed that.
Agreed. Yeah. I think one of the best things about doing a show like this is the connections you create with people. And I love the fact that we can now officially confirm that people listen to us because they talk back to us and they're there. And I love that. So thank you to all our listeners, the ones who appeared on our show today. And who knows, maybe if we'll have a few more on in another time because we love our listeners.
Absolutely. We know that we have at least 6 listeners, so thank you. And I would love to have it again. So listeners, just let us know you're out there, comment, tweet at us. And I think it was a really fun discussion. I think the unpopular opinions was fun to discuss and to hear the reasons. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, you make perfect sense.
I just like the fact that we have real listeners that are real people and not Russian bots. I've always thought so. And it was good to meet people. Like, I've met most of the group that we podcasted with today before. Had never met Mark before or Chrissy either, so that was good too.
You mean Paul?
Yes, I've never met Paul before or Chrissy, so it was nice to see those guys.
Incoming transmission.
We would love to hear your unpopular opinions, and you can do that on our Facebook group, Messenger Council Chambers.
Federation.
I said that wrong. Federation Council Chambers. You're welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email us directly at galaxyclass@ufp.earth. And we might read your email on the show. No, scratch that. We will definitely read your email on the show. You can also follow us on Twitter at GalaxyClassPod.
So please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or whichever podcast catcher you use, and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also find the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, Sasquatch, and History with the Szilagys. So, Rhea, where can people find you when you are holding a hand of cards that's a full house of 4s and 7s?
Ooh, just like Stephen Hawking, eh? When I'm not holding that magical hand, you can find me on the Federation Council Chambers. You can even send me an email at riapod47@gmail.com. If it's not completely inappropriate, just might read it on the show. And Joe, where can people find you when you're not putting down listeners who may not be aware of the history of the number 47 as represented in the Star Trek community?
I'm campaigning to have their have them, I don't know,
Their fan
shoved out.
club.
Shoved out an airlock.
No, you're campaigning to have their fan cards revoked.
No. Have
No,
your
I
own
like the
fan card.
harsher. I like the harsher spacing.
I tried, listeners. I tried.
Yeah.
You're out the airlock with Joe.
Okay, Jellico. Or should I
The
say
airlocks are
Jellic
locked,
Joe?
then transport them, beam them out into space. Yep, something like that. But when I'm not doing that, you can tweet me on the Twitter at JoeyJoe77UK. You can email me, joepodcasts@gmail.com, or you can find me in the Federation Council chambers. And Amy, where can people find you when you're not trying to figure out all the factors of 47?
The factors of 47?
I don't know what the number. I don't know.
It's prime.
It is a prime
Yeah,
number.
but that probably
So then
my
I
question
don't have
stands.
to worry about
So that
factors.
shouldn't take her more than an hour or two.
Should be there for weeks.
Well, so let's see. You can find me here on the network where I'm hosting All Good Things. You can find me on Union Federation Podcast, where we're comparing episodes of the Orville with Star Trek: The Next Generation. You can find me on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson, and of course, favorite place right there in the Federation Council chambers. Kevin, where can people find you when you're not taking a screenshot of your phone when it shows 47% left for your battery?
Oh, I should be doing that, actually. I think my phone's almost dead. But when I'm not doing that, you can find me on a couple of other podcasts I do, including Stage Whispers, the local theater podcast, where we just did an interview with a guy who's done a really cool Star Trek-y-like thing. It's instant translation for watching live theater using augmented reality. Super cool tech. I'm also doing True North Nerds, where we talk about nerdy stuff. I'm on the Twitter. I am in the Facebook group at the Federation Council Chambers. I'm on TikTok at KevinGS71. Yeah, you can follow me there too.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPEarth to get all the details.
We would like to recognise our executive producers, Brandon Shea Mutala, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore and Tony Robinson. We would also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music and Tony Robinson for our amazing artwork.
Thank you for beaming aboard Galaxy Class. And until next time,
there are 47 lights.
I am on level 47.
47 times 1 is 47. 47 times 2 is 94. 47 times 3 is 188. 47 times 4 is 106.
Great joy and gratitude.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.